Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Department of Trade Consumer Protection to throw snowballs at me. Maybe. Michelle. It's the snowball scam effect. I love this titling, the snowballing scams.
Absolutely. It's seasonally perfect right now with the colder weather and the holidays and everything, but snowballing has become something real as it relates to scammers, just piecing together these relatively simple scams to make them very complex and long-term. You think you're backing away and it's just snowballing out of control.
It's very interesting. So you reminded me that we talked to Michael about this a little bit earlier in the season, and it's interesting to me that it works because there are some red flags there, but in some respects it's kind of like, oh, it's just that easy for people to... I think you just get caught up in your everyday everything, you know, and it just kind of works in there for a scammer. So first off, just what is a snowballing scam? Just on the whole, we'll talk about some examples, but if we're looking at this as a whole, what's happening here?
Yeah, so this is something we're calling it because they are just snowballing, and it's a simple scam with a simple scam following it with another one behind it, and they're using the different tactics and just chaining this together for the consumer. And so just think of a basic scam where you've gotten called and maybe you've won a prize. And so then you think, great, and you make that payment in the way that you want, but no, that's a scam. There were red flags along the way. So now someone else calls you to say, hey, we're consumer protection. We're here to help you. I know we've talked about that example before, and we're here to help you with this, and your information's been compromised. You were part of a scam, so let me hook you up with the government, the FTC. Trusted source, but impersonated. So another technique that's being used during the scam, and you talk and they tell you what to do with your money. Let's shift your money over here to protect it. Let's protect your identity. You realize that's a scam. And so you think you're all in the clear, but now you get another phone call, and that one is, you've been involved in a scam and we're here to help you unwind that. Just pay these legal fees and we can undo and go after them and get your money back. And so that's the third phase. And if I'm sure there's a fourth and a fifth, luckily everyone we've dealt with has stopped at least by the third phase of these things.
Is it surprising to you that it's gotten that far, or is it the tactic just that good? Because these are there's impersonating, it's too good to be true, it's hitting you on the emotion. It's like every red flag that's there. But from your standpoint, is it like, as you talk to the consumer who's been affected by this, how are they, what do they say as they're telling you this happened?
Right. Well, we talk about these scams individually quite a bit, and so we don't want people to beat themselves up when they fall victim to one. These are people who are trying to defraud us, and they're being successful at it because of their techniques. We talk about those red flags, certainly, but in that moment, in that urgency, that's why they're using these techniques. People can fall victim to these things. And so then you have this frustration. And so that's what the next phase is to deal with your frustration and keep stringing you along. And you're so grateful for that opportunity to be able to switch things up or protect yourself. Because again, you're still thinking with a different portion of your brain. It's not your everyday rational thought. It's response energy, really, and thinking about, how do I undo this terrible thing that's happened to me? And so you're still being reactive instead of proactive, or just dealing with the situation in a problem-solving manner.
Is it getting to the point where you just don't answer I think I've asked Michael this many times, but it's kind of getting to the point where do you even trust, somebody calling you up or out of the, and again, another red flag there, catching you out of the blue, catching you on email, catching you in a text message, whatever. Like, how the heck do you fight this?
We need to stop and think. That's going to be our best mechanism, and talk to each other. Let's have conversations. Let's not keep things a secret. If something happens to us, let's expose it so we can all learn from it and get it out there, and ask questions. Stop, think, then act or react, but you need to ask the questions. Verify. before we trust, if need be. And if you ever think that you are having legitimate trouble, we have to go to reliable resources instead of be responding to those interactions we're having. And I say interactions because these come by text message, phone calls, social media posts, emails. They are just interacting with us at every touch point.
And one of the tips here on to avoid, and this goes for any scam, but I think it's again, I mean, these would be red flags I would see out there. But if you ever asked, or I've ever asked to be sent money from a government agency, wire transfer, cash, gift cards, crypto is really big now. But being asked to send any financial piece in any manner. I mean, I feel like we focused in on the wire transfer, then we focused in on the gift card. Now it's the crypto. But maybe you just say, don't make any payments. My goodness. And as you mentioned, until you know the source that you're actually making that payment to.
Yeah, we need to think about what are the normal methods of payment. They're still legitimate. Credit card, writing a check. That's how we interact with government.
Are you sure? Not crypto? Are you
not
sure?
crypto, not wire transfer, not cash. Some may think, okay, I can transfer from my bank, but that's still more like a check than it is a wire transfer. And that's hard. That's hard because crypto is creeping up. I mean, $5.6 billion lost to fraud in cryptocurrency schemes and other frauds in 2023, according to the FBI. So serious money.
At the end of the day, if you are caught up in this, and maybe you're in the middle of the snowball effect, what do you encourage people to do if they're they just have that thought for a second, uh-oh, where do you start?
Call Consumer Protection so we can talk through the steps. Or talk to a trusted family member or friend to just voice out loud what's going on so you can take that minute to identify those red flags, all the steps that will help. If you're feeling threatened, I need you to call law enforcement. I mean, I need you to get them involved if you're being threatened with something, but they can help you identify that it is a scam as well.
It's interesting because how it happens, and it's like multiple scams all wrapped up into one and just kind of plays out. But again, I love the stop, think, act type of mentality if you can do that, in that moment. And I'm at the point of trust no one, that you don't know until you verify some things. And it's okay to hang up, right? I mean, at the end of the day, hang up, not answer the text. I barely pick up the phone anymore. People don't like that, but it's hard.
I've missed important phone calls because I don't recognize the number, but they left a voicemail. So guess what? I call them back, and the person I'm calling back knows it's me because they just dialed my number, and they can see that I'm returning that phone call. That's okay. That's where we're at right now. But know that government's going to reach out by letter. So you can hang up because we're going to send you a letter.
Yep. There's the old ways are still the ways, and you don't think of it as the old ways. Think of it as the ways that things are happening there. So, well, if people want to learn more about this, the stuff that you talked about today, or again, they think they're involved in something like this, how can they get a hold of you?
Call the Consumer Protection Hotline at DATCP, 1-800-422-7128. Go to our website. You can find information about this and all sorts of other issues at datcp.wi.gov.
You really do want to stay up on these scams. They forever change. That's why we keep having the folks back here from DATCP. We're so thankful that you keep coming back and sharing this information because, again, people are still getting fraud or are getting identity theft fraud, losing money, losing stuff that they don't need to. So we thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for helping us get the word out because consumers are going to help us beat this in the end.
You can help.
That's
help
right.
out there. Thank you so much, Michelle.